The heroine Jenna in this story is forcibly controlled by her alpha boyfriend, who even locks her up, saying it's for her to better integrate into the pack. She fights back desperately, but he says, "It's for your own good." She barely escapes, only to be caught and publicly marked as his mate. She cries and shouts, "I hate you," but he just coldly looks at her. Chapter 10 Jenna. I awoke to find my neck wrapped in a bandage, my body restored to its human form. The scent enveloping me was unmistakably Alcander's, and I realized I was in his bed. Instinctively, I tried to roll off, only to discover I was strapped down. Frustration surged through me. "Are you effkin' serious?" I felt my fangs elongating and claws extending, a testament to my rebellious nature. As I attempted to slice through the restraints, Alcander entered the room. "Don't, Jenna," he warned, his authoritative tone evident as he approached and swiftly unstrapped me. "Now you know better." I opened my mouth to retort, but no sound emerged. Alcander retreated, his expression somber. Sitting up, I tried again to speak, managing only a series of wheezes. My hand flew to the bandage, tears welling in my eyes. Alcander perched at the foot of the bed, reaching out to touch my leg through the blanket, but I instinctively pulled away, hugging my knees to my chest. "Drive. Vivian S. said that the chain cut through your vocal cords," Alcander explained, his protective nature showing through his concern. "That's how bad the chain cut through your neck. I'm surprised you could even growl." I attempted to swallow, wincing at the pain. My beta advised it would be better to wait until you're healed before introducing you to the pack, Alcander continued, his gaze alternating between my neck and eyes. "That's when I'll show everyone my mark on your neck." My eyes widened in shock, brows furrowing as I vehemently shook my head and scooted further away. "Jenna," Alcander said, his face serious. "That's how my pack works. All upper ranks introduce their mate at the ceremony and mark them there beforehand in private." I clutched the blanket, pulling it up to shield my neck from his intense stare, and shook my head once more, my strong-willed nature refusing to yield to pack traditions. He sighed and pulled the blanket off, and I was met with the cool breeze. Goosebumps appeared on my body and I shook. I looked down and saw I was in some track shorts and a tank top. I didn't have a bra on, so you saw that I was a cold. I look up and see his eyes dilated and HES trying to take control of what the moon goddess wants, but he closes his eyes and takes a deep breath. His eyes are back to Hazel and HES looking at my eyes, nothing else. I glare at him and I try to get off the bed, but he grabs my leg. "It would happen, Jenna. I would not show disrespect to my pack. Either way, you are getting mark." I flash him my fangs. He lets go of my leg and walks out. I took a deep breath and closed my eyes. I held it for a while and then slowly exhaled. I opened my eyes and got up. I walked towards his bathroom and turned on the lights. The bandage wrapped around my throat and I can see blood leaking through the bandage. My hair is in a messy bun and brown locks fall down the side. I look at my brown eyes but can't because of the tears blocking me from doing so. I wanted to scream and yell, but only my whizzes can be heard. I wiped my eyes and walk out. I walk down the stairs and towards the smell of something cooking. I turn a corner and see a sight I would never forget. Alcander was without a shirt on, has a kitchen towel on his shoulder. His sweats were low on his hips and all his back muscles flexed every time he would move. I suck in a breathe and slowly exhale. He hasn't heard me or smelled me, so I walked towards the island and sat down in the chair. He was stirring something in a big pot that smelled so good. His shirt is next to my arm and I push it away. He smells the steam but snaps his head towards me. "I didn't hear you. When did you come down?" he said, taking out the spoon and setting it down on the counter and placing the towel with it. He turns towards me and crosses his arms across his chest, and I'm trying really hard to not look at his body. I gave him "Are you serious?" face and glare at him. He looks at my neck and makes his mouth in a O shape. "I forgot," he said, rubbing his neck. I flip him off and look at the steam coming from the pot. He looks over his shoulder and back at me. "You hungry? I'm making chicken no soup because of your throat." My sister would always make this for me when my best friend and I got in a fight and we would go for throats. I just realized I'm starving because of not eating for more than a week. My stomach hurts when it growls and I held it. I glare at him because he already knows the answer. He quickly grabs a bowl and grabs a soup spoon and pours me soup. He grabs a spoon and slides it to me. The steam and the smells hits my nose and my stomach growls again. I slowly grab the spoons and dip it in and collect some of the broth. I bring the spoon to my mouth and look up and seeing him staring at me intensely. I start to blow but whizzes come out. I bring my eyebrows together and try harder and breathe out. I try again but with all the strength I put to blow it is all whizzes. The spoon gets taken out of my hand and I look to my right and see him standing next to me and leaning over the bowl and blowing the broth. He looks at me when blowing the spoon. I look at him then at the spoon and he starts to slowly bring it to my mouth. His eyes stare at my mouth and I hesitate at first and then I slowly open my mouth but close it fast before he can feed me. I grab the spoon out of his hand and slowly put it in my mouth. The broth is warm and so good. I close my eyes and slowly try to swallow. The broth slowly goes down but it hurts. I squeeze my eyes and push down the broth. When it goes down I sigh because that has been the only food I had when I've been here. I opened my eyes and I see him staring at my neck, then back at my eyes which held sadness to them. "I'm so sorry," he whispers so low that I barely missed it. I glared at him and put the spoon back in the bowl. I grabbed some bits of chicken and broth and put it next to his mouth. He stares at me the whole time HES blowing and I just stare back at him. He placed his hand over mine and slowly starts to move it towards my mouth. I glare at him but I slowly open my mouth and he opens his slightly acting like HES eating it. I close my mouth when the spoon is placed and I chew the chicken slow. He chews with me and he gulps slowly when I do the same. I squeeze my eyes tight when the chicken takes its time going down. I open my eyes and he holds the empty spoon next to my mouth. He has a frown on his face and he starts to place the spoon down in the bowl, but I push his hand and get off the chair. "Where you going? You still need to eat." He places the spoon down and starts to walk towards me. I shake my head no and walk upstairs towards his room. I can't do this anymore. Chapter 11 Jenna. I walked towards his bed and collapse on the ground next to it. Tears fall down my face. And it's getting really hard to breathe. Thank God I locked the door close. I heard him walk upstairs but then sprint to the door when he heard my cries. "Jenna, open the door," he said while banging on the door. My throat burned. My tears sting my eyes. I gasped for air but then end up clawing at my throat because I can't breathe. He busted in and picks me up. I thrash around and claw at him, end up seeing black because the lack of air. I feel us moving and I catch the glimpse of the walls going in fast motion. We make our way outside and I slowly start to go limp. HES breathe hard and sweat trails down his forehead. I'm gasping for air but I can't seem to inhale it. My surroundings slowly turn black and everything comes as a blur. My body shoots up and I'm alarmed. I hand grasp my mind, but I bring the other one from my side and slash whoever it was on their arm. Their hand tightens and I look up to them. Bright hazel eyes bore into me intensely. I gulp and his jaw is shut tight. "I will let this slide. But know there's always consequences to your actions," he said in a stern voice while gripping my hand hard enough to where it hurts. I bit my lip from growling at him. "The doctor said you were having a panic attack from all the stress and not be able to breathe correctly." I looked away from his graze and see the M in the pack medical room. "Other wolves or you're getting healed up." He squeezes my hand and I turn my head towards him. His eyes are soft and his face falls. HES looking at my neck then back at my eyes. His mouth moves but no words fall out. I slowly move my hand away from his but he tightens it. "Vivian S. said that your neck is taking long than expected to heal. He said your wolf is barely putting effort to help heal you. Why?" I stare at him and I hear Rodri whimper in the back of my head. I continue to stare at him, answer. I bring up my shoulders telling him I don't know. I pull my hand away where his lays limp in the bed. I look around and see some of the wolves looking at me but once they catch my gaze they turn away. "Vivian S. said we can leave once you wake up. Do you want to leave?" I look back at him and HES standing already stretching his arms. His arms are above his head and his shirt comes up showing his V-line. I look at his eyes and bring both my hands up and I pretend to write on it. He brings his eyebrows together, but then his eyes light up. He drops his hands and rushes around the room looking for paper and a pen. One of the nurses gave him a paper on a clipboard with a black pen. He rushes back to me and places it on my legs. I grab it and start to write. I would look up and see him starting at my handwriting. I brought the clipboard up so he won't see, and he looks up to my eyes. I look down and continue to write. I drop the pen and toss him the board. He catches it with ease and looks at me before HES starts to read. His eyebrows come together and his face turns red. Yes, I would like to leave. But not together. I don't want to be next to you. I don't want to live with you. I'm not going to be that perfect mate for you. I'm not going to be there, Luna. Once I'm healed, I would leave. I would leave and reject you and watch our pack burn to the ground when you are at your weakest point. Just know your actions leads to consequences, mate. He brings the board down, HES breathing hard. His eyes flash to blue and his fangs have descended. He breaks the board in half and slams it on the ground. Leave. He says low, but everyone rushes out, even the wolves who are bleeding. The room is empty, leaving me and him by ourselves. He jaw clenched and opens. His fangs has cuts his lips, but they slowly start to heal back together. I watch and I hear my wolf whimper and yell for me to stand down. I'd push her out of my thoughts and sit up. You would never leave me. He roars. You would never reject me. You won't leave. I waited years for my mate. And instead I get a BTCH for a mate. I flinch at what he says, but he laughs darkly. The truth hurts, hum 8. He stalks forward and comes to my side. I scoot away, but he grabs my legs and yanks me to the side. My legs hang off the side HES on and am laying sideways on the bed. He hovers over me and he starts to lean forward. His hands go to each side of my head. His eyes are bright blue, and I know his wolf has full control of his body than before when they were just plain blue. When this damn neck brace shit comes off, my mark would be on your neck. I would mark you in front of my pack. With force or not. You are not rejecting me. There is no way I would live without a mate. So you will have fun and games with this thing on. But the second it comes off, that's when the ceremony starts and the marking happens. He says, looking straight in my eyes. I flash him my fangs and my claws come out. I go for his neck, but he pins my wrist next to my head as he straddles my waist. I try to growl, but it hurts. Maybe I should just chain you up again and just tell my pack I reject you and leave you to die in there. I stiff under him and he knows HES got me around his finger. Do you want to go back there? I shook my head to the side while I felt the tears fall down the side of my face and his eyes soften, but then turn back to stone. Then on tacked bad and on to tack your alpha mate. He kisses my forehead longer than needed and I close my eyes tight. He climbs off and takes my hand, leading me away. My forehead stings from his lips and my eyes burn. I swallow down the cries and the pain and walk with my alpha. We walks down the halls of Pack House and everyone bows their head in respect towards their alpha but stare longer on me. He gives them a low growl and they tuck their tails between their legs and look away. We walk outside and make our way towards his house. He leads me to the kitchen and Ray heats the soup and makes me sit on the stool. He starts to feed me, but I don't open my mouth. He sighs and continues to try. I look down and play with my hands. He gets up and leaves me alone. Finally. Chapter 12, Jenna. I bring the soup close to my lips and would just breathe on it. The steam would move but then move back above the soup. I opened my mouth and touched the soup with the tip of my tongue, but pulled back when it burned. I dropped the spoon and pushed off of the stool. I walked out the house not looking back because I can feel his stare from the top window. I flip him off, not bothering to look at him. I walked towards the pack house and walked towards the living room, and the wolves in here move like him a walking disease. I curl up my lips showing my fangs and continue to walk to a couch. The wolves on there jump up and dash away. Everyone leaves and my wolf whines, but I growl back at her. I'm alone in the room except there's one girl in here. She's staring at me with so much wonder. Like her mouth is open with astonishment. She was sitting on the other couch in here. She had nice beautiful jet black hair with vibrant green eyes. Her skin was a whitish color. She wore ripped jeans and a half-sleeve striped shirt with black and white Converses. I tilt my head to the side and raised an eyebrow. She blinked a couple of times and just stared at me. If I would be able to talk, I would probably throw all kinds of stuff. I curled my lip and showed my fangs, and her eyes went wide. I jumped when she screamed. I closed my eyes tight when the ringing was still there. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's really you. I open my eyes and see her jumping off the couch and running towards me and shaking her hands up and down. My claws came out and I showed my fangs again. I got up and was ready for a fight. She didn't stop though. She ran towards me and hugged me. She hugged me. I pushed her off of me and I was about to slash her, but she moved back. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to scare you, she says while covering her mouth up with her hands and jumping slightly. She tries so hard not to smile, but it's too big. I bring my eyebrows together and step back. Her eyes grow big. Oh my God. You probably think I'm some crazy person. My name is Janet. Im's Ilex's mate. Alcander's beta. She squeals. I raise an eyebrow and pull back my claws. She jumps up and down talking about how I don't even know. I sit down just watching how she uses her hands when she talks. A lot. She talks a lot. What happened? She questions while pointing at my neck. My hands instantly go to it. I glare at blank space with Alcander's face in my mind. I shouldn't have asked that. I'm sorry if I offended you. I shook my head and just stared at her. She smiles and she was about to speak, but she jumped when a voice came through the walls. Janet. The voice was unfamiliar, but Janet knew who it was. How her body reacted to it. She shook in delight but shot up from the couch. I need to hide. Like now. She whispers, yells to me. I gave her a question look, but she starts to scramble around the room looking for somewhere to hide at. Loud footsteps pounded the ground and she freaks out. In comes a tall, handsome wolf. His jawline is sharp. Eyes like emeralds. Soft brown hair. Muscles ripped through his tight shirt. If it wasn't for that stupid bond for Alcander, I would have flirted with this guy. He walks tall and strong, and you can tell by power radiating off of him. The HES, the beta. But I remember HES Janet's mate. Janet. He stomps in with red in his face. She jumps and slowly turns around with her head down. He walks up to her and grabs her arm and pulls her towards his chest. He whispers in her ear and she laughs, but he whispers again and she stops laughing. He steps back with a smirk on his face and chest bright red. Hello, Luna. He bows slightly and I glare at him because I don't want to be next to any of his companions. He smiles. It's good to see you out. Well, I need to do something right now. Just came to pick up her. He grips her hand and drags her away. She waves me goodbye and I do the same. I sit back on the couch but roll my eyes when he walks in. So you've met Janet. He chuckles at the doorway. Crazy little girl, huh? I get up and walk past him, completely ignoring him. Dinner. I kept walking and made it out the door. It was already the afternoon, so the summer heat got me. I kept walking, I don't know where though. But away from him. He followed me like a lost puppy, calling my name. Jenna. Ignore. Jenna. I'm talking to you. I put up my hand, opening and closing it. Imitating him talking. My wrist got grabbed and he spun me around. His eyes were blue and I glared at them. Don't ever ignore me, mate. I would not tolerate this behavior from you. Do you understand? He yelled. I stared at him for a minute and smiled. I put up my hand and imitated him again. I pushed at his chest and walked towards wherever. I heard him growl, then I heard him walking faster to me. I started to walk faster, but he caught up with his longest legs. He spun me around and his eyes were bright blue. His fangs were out and I stared at him with a bored face. He was yelling at me, but I wasn't paying attention. I was looking at his face and how his eyes willed with hazel and blue. If I didn't have that dumb ceremony thing, you would have been marked the moment we met eyes, and I would teach you lessons of how to submit and behave. He roared. I gave him a confused face and pushed away from him. I sprinted away, but he let me. I ran back towards the pack house and there was Janet. Hey, Luna. She jumped. I held up my hand telling her to stop and she did. I pretended to write on my hand and she got the idea. She gave me her phone and I typed, "Please don't call me Luna. Call me Jenna. I would not like to be reminded what I was cursed with. So Janet, can you show me around?" Chapter 13. Jenna. Her eyes lit up and her smile grew 10 times bigger. She was about to talk and jump up and down, but I held up my hand to stop her. She understood and she nodded her head violently. I couldn't help but smile at her energy. We walked around the pack house, showing me everyone, starting to lowest ranks to the highest. The Omgeza were shy and some would not look or bother to walk towards us. We walked out and met other pack members. They would hug me and rub their scent over me. They were warm and welcoming me as their new Luna. They would even bow their head in respect and I would blush because I was never got this respect in my pack. So getting all this attention was so new to me. Being the third-in-command daughter, doesn't really put you up there like a beta or an alpha. But now, as they are calling me their Luna and all, I feel like going to a corner and hiding from all their stares. They would look long at my neck but would shake it off and try to make a conversation with me, but Janet would answer for me. Some would look at me weird when I didn't answer, so I would look down. I felt like I was disrespecting them, but they didn't question it. We continued talking to the wolves and walked around the whole territory. We walked along the border, and Janet would talk about how her brother and her would always put one foot out of the border and bring it back in and see if the warriors would think if they were rogues. She said once they got caught and they had to be punished in front of the pack. I turned to her and see her tears, but she covered it up with a sad laugh. I pulled her arm and made her stop walking. She looked at the ground and wiped her tears. I lifted her head up with the finger and made her look at me. A tear fell down and I gave her a confused face. She smiled, but it was the one I saw before. It was more like let me act like him actually not smile. I crossed my arms and made her sit on the ground. I sat down right after her and crossed my legs. I motioned her to go on with my hand, and she took in a shaky breath. We got caught by one of the warriors, seeing us stick out our foot and our arms out. He mind-linked the Alpha. Alcander's dad and told him what we were doing. We got sent in the middle of the pack field, and they made us stand on a podium. He was yelling at us, talking about if we really wanted to be a rogue then be his guest. He yelled in front of everyone, showing other pups and his wolves what would happen if we break one of these rules. The rule is, we can't cross unless we are getting territory or we are starting war. So if we cross, we would get punished. So he made an example of chaining me with silver and whipping my brothers with silver. She pulled up her pants and around her ankle was a scar wrapped around ankle. I glared at it because now I know who he got it from. She quickly rolled her pants down and continued the story. My parents watched up close. My two brothers now have deep scars on their back. Tears roll her cheek and my heart ache. I was about to touch her hand to tell her it's okay, but that's when her eyes grew wide and she tried so hard to wipe her eyes. I tilt my head in confusion, but she stood up and dusted her pants and she wiped eyes again and placed a fake smile on. Zilix ran in the opening and had a confused face on. I got up as he walked towards us. "What wrong? I felt your wolf calling for me." He grabbed her and nuzzled his head in her neck. She looked at me and she brought her hands up to her lips telling me to not say it. I gave her a worry face and she looked at me pleading. I sighed and nodded my head. She pushed at his chest and coughed. "Nothing, just me and Jenna laughing." She was telling a funny joke. I gave her wide eyes and he turned to me. He looked at my neck then back at my eyes. Janet remember and her eyes grew wide. "You can talk." I smiled and held up my hand. "Ugh, no," she wrote it on the dirt. "See?" She pointed to my foot and I gave her a dumb look. "Oh," she erased it. "Sorry, love." He looked at me weird and then he smiled and kissed her. She smiled in the kiss and I looked away. I started to walk out of the woods when things got intense. I walked towards the pack house and walked towards Alcander's. I walked in and walked upstairs. He was here and I was glad. I walked in the room and laid down. "Audrey." "Why, yes." "What's wrong? Talk to me." "Nothing is wrong. Why are you taking a long time to heal us?" She hesitated at first then got up on her paws. "I'm afraid if I heal us fast he would hurt us again." That pulled at my heart and I closed my eyes. "He won't. We are going to reject him once we are better. But no buts. I'm for real." Okay. Okay, thank you. She didn't answer, only stayed in the back of my mind. I got up and walked in the bathroom. I took off the bandage and stared at the wound. Puss was seeking out and I almost gagged at the sight. Blood oozed out and I ran the water and gently dabbed it. It stung, but I kept going. I'm sorry. I jumped and spun towards the doorframe and saw him looking at the mirror. I glared at him and walked towards him. He slowly looked at me and watched me. I glared at him and flicked him off and shut the door in face. Chapter 14. Jenna. I jumped in the shower while he kept knocking on door. Jenna. I washed my head with his shampoo because that's the only thing in there. Jenna. I bet I smell so bad. No wonder they stared long. No wonder they looked at my skin long too. And always smiled hard and walked fast away from me. Jenna. I rolled my eyes and slammed the faucet off. I'm sorry. I really wish I can talk so I can tell him to FCK himself and reject him. I grabbed the towel and I can hear him breathing on the door. Jenna. Listen. I didn't mean for this to happen. I glared at the door and wrapped the towel tight around myself. Jenna. Don't be mad, but I already told the pack that you are ready for the ceremony. My eyes grew wide and I slammed the door open. His face held a smirk and he leaned against the doorpost. Now I know to use that for you to open the door. I glared at him and pushed his shoulder with mine and walked towards the closet. Look, I know your vocal cords can't work, but just know I won't stop till you talk again. I flicked him off from behind me and pulled the door open. I walked in and turned around and see his eyes dilated a little. He looked up and he licked his lips. I flicked him off again and slammed the door close while locking it. I sighed and grabbed his shirt and some of his sweats. I had to roll them twice because they were too big on the waist and a little too long. I walked out and I didn't see him there. I was glad, so I walked back to the bathroom. I looked at my wound again and I smiled. Audrey was already helping me. Scabs started to form and around it started to turn pink. I pulled my hair to a ponytail and hung up the towel. I didn't wrap up my neck because I'm letting it air out. So I walked downstairs. He washed here and I saw some more soup waiting on the island. I walked to it because I never really got to eat much, so I sat down and tried this again. I placed my finger in the broth and it was warm. I bit my lip and slowly brought the spoon up with some broth. Little steam flew up and I slowly brought it to my lips. I touched it with my tongue and it didn't burn. I sighed and slowly brought the spoon in my mouth. The broth warmed me up and I closed my lips around the spoon. The broth laid on my tongue, warming my whole mouth. I closed my eyes and swallowed. I clenched my fist and closed my eyes tight, waiting for the pain. When it never came and I felt it move down my throat towards my stomach, I opened my eyes and sighed. I looked at the spoon and saw it was empty. I gave out a whiz and smiled. It tasted so good. I put the spoon down in the broth. I swallowed again, sighing in delight. I placed the spoon again and grabbed some chicken. I gulped and slowly placed the chicken in my mouth and started to chew slow. When I couldn't chew it to smaller pieces, I closed my eyes tight and swallowed. When I didn't die and I was starting to feel the food in my stomach and I gave a whiz again, almost as a laugh. I began to eat and closed my eyes every time I would swallow because of how good it is. When I got to the bottom of the bowl, I dropped the spoon and gripped the bowl. I brought it to my lips and drank it down. I closed my eyes inside in delight when I felt myself full. I smiled and set the bowl down. I opened my eyes and see nothing there. I got up and walked towards the sink and washed my bowl and left it there because I don't know where the drying rack is. I walked towards the living room and see the backyard door. I start to walk towards the door and open it, but I sigh and close the door. Nothing, just plain field and the woods as a fence. I walk back towards the front of the house and made my way towards the pack house. I knocked and walked in and I see Janet helping some Ongaza out with some dishes piled up. Jenna. She drops the plate and runs towards me. I jump at the sound of plate crashes and so does the wolves that were next to her. She hugs me tight and I can't help but smile and hug her back. She makes me feel welcomed here. I gave her a good squeeze and pull away. Her smile reaches the end of her face and her eyes are lit up with happiness. I wrote on my hand and she looks at my neck and brings her eyebrows together, but she doesn't question it. She pulls out her phone and hands it to me. I grab it and bring it close to my face, blocking my redness. I can feel her stare on my neck, and I start into a second thoughts of not wrapping it. I start to type and I look up when I hear her open and then close her mouth. I tilt my head and she looks away, blushing. I shake my head and continue to text. He did that, didn't he? She whispers. I look up and see her staring directly in my eyes. I bite my lip and look down and continue to text. So I need your help. I need your help with getting me clothes. I can't stand wearing Elsie Ender's clothes anymore. So can we go somewhere? I handed her phone back and she reads it and her smile grows so big it reaches her ears. Chapter 15. Jenna I bang my head on the dressing room wall, while Janet runs around store talking to herself. No, this one would match so much better. Vampire Deception by Drake Mason and E.Y. Gwait. As an undocumented changeling and forced to code as a low-level witch. What was that? I sigh and turn around and see her rushing around grabbing anything that catches her eye. She come back running with her arms full with clothes. She pushes me back in the room and squeals. Go try them on. She slams the door shut and I sigh. I drop like the 10-pound of clothes and rub my eyes. We've been in the damn store for the past 5 hours. She can't seem to stop running around and picking up crap. Effkin bullshit, man. I start to pick up anything that was a dark color. But Janet being Janet, she picks bright colors. I close my eyes and take in a few breaths. You're fine. You're fine. Last time you ask for help. I start to change and I step out. I placed on some ripped jeans and a loose shirt. She was gone. I blew a strand of hair that was falling in front of my eyes and sagged my shoulders. I start to head back in, but I heard her running back. Jenna. This one. I swear. Try it on. She pushes me back in the room and I barely caught my footing before I fell backwards. The door slams shut and I can hear her jumping up and down. I look at it and it's a black high-waisted skater skirt with a stripped crop top. I saw it because I always hated skirts. I tried it and then looked through the mirror in there. The skirt hugged my hips nicely and it made my butt look wider. The shirt made the illusion of making my chest look bigger. I walked out and that's when I had to cover my ears from her scream. That's it. I'm buying. I gave her awkward smile and walked back in. I changed and I got to choose some ripped jeans and some shorts because of the summer heat is about to come. I also got some t-shirts. I choose black Converses and white ones too. We packed her car with the shopping bags and she offered to pay to go eat. We ate at some diner and I just tried to eat some pasta to see if it can go down smooth. Janet got a bacon burger and would shove it in my face, telling me I should try it. I continued to eat my shrimp Alfredo and surprisingly I managed to finish my plate. Wish. How's your mate? She wiggles her eyebrows and dipping her fries in ranch. I roll my eyes and give her the middle finger. Oh, come on. He can't be that bad. I glared at her and pointed at my neck. She looks at it and she turns red. Oh, my bad. I give her the look, oh sure you did. I forgot, okay? She yells. I look at her and then look around and seeing people looking over their shoulders towards us. Sorry. She waves her hand towards them. I shake my head and drink my strawberry lemonade. I nod my head towards her and she tilts her head in confusion. I move my hand telling her to go ahead and speak. What's going with me and Z Alex? I nod my head and her face lights up with happiness. Yes, amazing. He loves me. I love him. He said that when my heat comes I would be marked. I gave her confused face because Alcander said all higher ranks get marked at the ceremonies. I guess she saw the confusion in my face because she jumped in her seat now. I mean, Ivy been marked already. She pulls her shirt down a little and where her neck meets her shoulder there is his mark. I meant his scent. I guess you know. I held up my hand because I can already guess the picture. Chest beat red and I give her a shy smile. When's your next heat? She asks while finishing her burger. I write on my hand and she passes her phone to me. I haven't had a heat yet. My mom said I'm late and I was going to the pack doctor, but that's when Alcander came. I handed her the phone and her smile that she had on slowly falls. She looks up and I sip my lemonade. You never had your first heat. I shake my head no and she gasps. What? How though? I bring my shoulder up, and she sighs. Was your mom a late start? I shake my head and she brings her eyebrows together, trying to think of solution. I tap her arm and motion my head towards the door, and she go the idea. She left a tip and paid for our food and drove off to the pack house. She parked her car and I got out while going to the back and picking up some bags. She helped out and we made our way towards Alcander house. I didn't knock or bother to and just walked in. I walked up the stairs and I can hear her gasp. I look over my shoulder on the staircase and see her walking slowly in. She looks at the whole house and up the stairs at me. I raise my eyebrow as she blushes. I'm sorry. It's just I have never been Alpha Alcander's house before. I roll my eyes and continue up the stairs. I heard her follow close behind, and I made my way towards the room. I threw the bags on the bed and fell backwards on the bed. I sighed and closed my eyes while I push off my shoes with my feet. I hear her place the bags on the ground and I look up. She smiles at me. I'll leave you here. It's getting late and I don't want to upset the Alex, so I'll see you tomorrow. I nod my head and she smiles. Bye, she waves. I wave back and the sound of the door clicking close. I knew she left. I sigh and laid back down. It felt like I barely closed my eyes. But when I opened it I saw Alcander eyes away and I look down and see him tuck away in the blankets. I barely have my eyes open, but I see him walking out of the closet with his shirt off and some sweat riding low on his hip. He climbs in and wraps his arm around my waist. I don't know what I did. I don't know if it was Audrey, but I moved closer to him. And that's how I fell back asleep. F. Kin Bond. Chapter 16. Jenna. I woke jumping out of bed. My eyes are huge. I didn't know I pulled the covers with me, but somehow I didn't. That woke up Alcander. What the FCK? His morning voice sent shivers down my spine, but I thank the moon goddess for having his eyes closed. He slowly opened his eyes and sees me at the end of the room glaring at him. What are you doing? He said while sitting up on the bedpost. I glared at him and pointed at him, then to the spot I was at. He looked at himself, then to the spot, then back at me. He smiled, showing me his perfect white teeth. Come back then. I'm starting to get cold, Jenna. Can I have our blanket back? He smirked. I took a huge breath in and out. I clenched my jaw and flicked him off. He smiled and ran his hand through his hair and down his face. Well, I guess I would get up. I didn't look at him because he was just in boxers. I don't know what happened to his sweats, but they're gone. He walks towards me, and I continue to glare at him. Don't give me that face. You're the one that cuddled up to me all night. I felt the color in my face drain and my mouth opened. He smiles and puts 2 fingers under my chin, but I tried to slap them away. But he gripped it hard and slammed me back on the wall. I hissed and dropped the blanket, trying to unclamp his hand. His other hand is on my hip, pressing me back on the wall, and HES tilting his head, taunting me. I glare at him and trying to kick my leg up. He catches it in between his legs and I fell him on my thigh. I try to pull it back, but he tightens his legs. Stop. His voice is deep. I continues to stare at him. His eyes dilate, but keep switching from hazel to black. I push at his chest, but he doesn't move. Jenna. I close my eyes, clenching my teeth together as hard as I can, trying to mask what his voice can do to my body. I continue to push his chest, but he stays there up in my bubble. Jenna. His hand goes under my chin, lifting it up to his glaze, but I close my eyes tighter. Look at me. He whispers in my ear. I have to bite my lip, trying to hide any noise my body wants to say out. His tugs on my earlobe that makes my knees buckle, but he holds me on the wall. Audrey, do something. Give me strength to push him away. No answer. Audrey. At least let me talk. Fine. I sighed in relief and I can feel my vocal cords coming together faster, and I gulped down the pain she was putting me. SSTOP, I croaked out. My voice cracked every letter I would say. I open my eyes and I see him staring at my neck. He looks at my eyes, then back at my neck. I guess I could arrange the ceremony now. He smiles and looks at eyes. Crab. 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 I open my mouth and try to say something else, but I fake that I can't talk anymore. I fake a whiz and make my face fall. He squints his eyes and tilts his head to the side. Can't talk anymore, huh? I glare at him and he chuckles. So you can't tell me to stop no more then. Right. I glare at him while I try to bring my leg up, but he tighten his hold on them. Then I could do whatever I want because you're not telling to stop, and I assume you like it then. I open my mouth, but it's too late. He attacks my neck and left love bites all over my neck. I bite my lip from saying anything. I took out my claws, trying to cut his arms to let go of me, but he grabs my wrist and pinned them above my head. His tongue went across my neck and up to my jawline. I squirmed around trying to not get touched by him, but he presses his body on me. Tell me to stop. You'll stop. He whispered in my ear while biting it. Don't stop. Shut up, Audrey. Damn it. I blocked her out and continued to move around and trying to get my wrists free so I can claw his face out. He continues to make love marks on my neck, sucks and biting my neck, then running his tongue over that spot. Say it. He pulled at my ear. I bit my lip and closed my eyes, trying to win this fight. He started to kiss up my neck and up to my jaw. My legs are shaking, having a hard time to handle my weight. He trailed his tongue my jawline, then towards my neck, and I sighed in bliss from the pleasure. I felt him smile against my skin, and glazed his tongue on the side of my neck where his mark is supposed to be. Come on, Jenna. Just one word. He taunted. He gripped my wrist in one hand and trailed his hand down my side to my hips. His hand went under my shirt and rested on my skin that sent sparks through my body. His finger did designs over my skin while he continued to nibble on the spot of my neck straight. His mouth come off my skin and I felt his glaze on my face. I open my eyes and barely see any hazel in his eyes. His eyes are fighting to get back to his regular eye color, but the desire from him is fighting over his body. His lips are plump and my neck burns from the air hitting my raw neck. I don't know how he managed to bite my skin from the scabs from trying to heal my wounds, but he managed to do so. Say it. His voice is deep and husky, that it sent shivers through my spine, making me close my legs tight. He breathed and his eyes went complete black. Say it, Jenna, or I won't stop what's going to happen next. His voice is so weak that I didn't think it was Alcander. I looked straight in those deep coal eyes and said, I, Jenna Knox, reject Alpha Alcander as my mate. Chapter 17, Jenna. I closed my eyes waiting for the pain to come. But that's when I freaking remember. He has to accept it. Damn it. I opened them and pushed back on the wall, trying to escape. His eyes are glowing blue. I already know his wolf is out. No need to hide the fact. I try to push at his chest, trying to escape and run away, but his hold on my wrist tightens so hard I'm afraid he would break my wrist. I hiss and try to wiggle out of his stupid hold. What did you say? His voice is low and it's not his normal voice. It's his wolf talking. My dad always told me to not let your wolf have full control of your body. It's a bad idea. I looked straight at his eyes and flinched when he yelled. What did you effkin say, Jenna? I licked my lips while HES turning red and breathing hard. I, Jenna Knox, reject Alpha Alcander as my mate. I said, keeping my head up high. He picks me up and throws me on the bed so fast that I gasped when I hit the bed. I looked up and his hands now have claws, and I looked to his face and HES baring his fangs at me. I decline your rejection, he says while his lips bleed from his fangs poking them. I knew you would. I stayed quiet and watched him pace around the bed, but the whole time, he had his eyes on me. Axe no. I flinched and crawled back till my back hit the bedpost. He was breathing hard in his vein and his neck is pounding against his skin. He tilted his head and continued to stare at me. I had to look away. I couldn't stand the stare. His breathing was still harsh, but not that bad, so I looked up. His eyes were fogged over, and I knew he was mind-linking someone. So I took that chance to get up and run, but right when I was about to pass him, his hand reached out, clamped down on my forearm, and his claws dug deep. I bit my lip from showing any pain and looked up to him. He was looking at me because he was already dragging me out of the room. His strides were long and fast. It was kinda hard for me to keep up, but he kept wagging his pace. I would pull on my arm, but his claws would dig deeper and would make me bleed even more. My blood trailed down my arm and left droplets on the floor. We traveled down the stairs and I growled at him, yanking back my arm. His hand tightened. I let out a growl. He yanked me back and we walked out of the door. "Let go," I said. His growl was loud and it held a threat to it. I growled back at him. His hand tight and even more, and I cried out in pain from his claws and how tight his hand is around my forearm. It feels like would snap in half if he tightens his hand again. We pass the pack house and he lets out a roar. I flinched from how loud it was and I continued to yank my arm. Wolves started to pile out of their homes and stared at us in confusion. We continued to walk somewhere I don't even know. I look past the crowd and see a podium. My eyes grew huge and I planted my feet in the ground. "No, Alcander. I won't." I growled at him. He looked at me and yanked me hard till I flung towards him and slammed right in his chest. His arms wrapped around me and I cowled at move. I would not accept it. Ever. He whispered harsh in my ear and grabbed my hand and led me towards the podium. "Alcander." He continues to ignore me till we made our way up the stairs, facing the crowd. I looked over his shoulder and see Janet and Z Alex. Just looking down playing with her hands while Z Alex walks forward and says something in Elsie Ender's ear but then gets a growl in response. He steps back and wraps an arm around her waist. He kisses the top of her head and stares at the crowd that is starting to form in front of us. I look over and see most of the whole pack is here. My heart drops, already knowing what's going to happen next. Why Moon Goddess? Why can't he just accept it? He makes me walk in front of him and wraps his arms around my waist from behind. I squirm around trying to get away, but he growls low in my ear. My eyes start to tear because I lost already. He is speaking to the crowd, but all I hear is muffles. I take out my claws and start to claws at his arms around my waist, but he tightens them and pulls me closer to him. "Don't do anything stupid, mate. Would you want consequences?" He whispered harsh in my ear. I bit my lip from saying anything and slammed my foot on his. He growled in my ear but did nothing. "Hello everyone. Today we are having a ceremony for your Luna," he said above my head with his alpha tone. Everyone didn't clap. No one dared to make a sound. They were all staring at me. They were staring at the tears that fell down that I cowed and hold back. They were staring at the blood trailing down my arm, towards me fingertips. The blood would drop from my hand and down to my shoe. "We come to witness your Luna be marked and be filled with your links." He bends down closer to me and I feel his hot breath on my neck. I push up my shoulder as best as I can, but his hand grabs my shoulder and pushes it down, leaving the room for his teeth to sink in. A quiet sob escapes my mouth, but he growls instead. He sniffs my neck, running his nose over my exposed skin, the setting on the part where he wants to mark. I close my eyes and squirm around, but he has a firm hold against me. I hear reverionous breathing. That's how quiet it is. His tongue sticks out and the warmth of his tongue makes me shudder in disgust. He growls at my response, but I didn't care. Slowly, very slowly, I feel his fangs come to my skin and scratch my skin. Tears fall down. I hold my breath waiting for them to sink in. I hear him take in a deep breath in and his teeth goes through my skin. I scream in pain, struggling to get away from him. He holds me there while I sob. The pain has my eyes closed shut. His teeth stay there while I cry, but the pain slowly starts to go away. Right before I can feel whatever that feeling that was coming, he pulled out his teeth and licked my wound, sealing it. I open my eyes and see the crowd in a blur. I look up and see him on my side, staring at the crowd. He is saying something, but I can't hear. It's like him underwater and I can't hear anything. All I hear is muffles. My legs start to give away, but he holds me up. He looks down and that's when I see his eyes. They weren't blue. They were hazel. I gave a weak glare, but I fell towards the darkness that was fighting over my body. Chapter 18. Jenna, I woke up on his bed and see him staring at me on a chair in front of the bed. I growl and rush up and charge towards him. He was staring up in space, so when he heard my feet land on the ground, he didn't have time to react to me charging to him. I tackled him and we fell backwards. The sparks flowed through my body, but that's because I was punching his face. "I can hate you." I growled out and I can see my eyes bright brown in his eyes. He tried to grab my wrist, but I kept punching him. "Why would you do that?" "I hate you." I felt tears fall down. I was confused, but I just wanted to punch all my anger on his face. He growled and flipped us around, and now HES straddling me. He growled and pinned my hands on the side of my head. "Stop, mate," he said, calm, but his eyes told a different story. His nose was bleeding and I saw that I split his eyebrow. I gave myself a mental pat on the back and wiggled to get out under him. He growled again and bared his teeth at me. I did the same, but he continued to growl. "Get off of me. I hate you. I don't even want to be your mate and you pull that shitty," I yelled in his face while he continued to growl at me. "How f***ing pathetic you are. Can't even accept a reject. You can always find another woman to be your Luna and mate. But not me. I would never," he growled and came down, crashing his lips on mine. The sparks flew through my body again and he flowed through my body. I growled and tired to move my wrist to push his fat body off of me, but he held them tight on the ground. I tried to stop my mouth from moving along with his, but this stupid, now strong, bond is making me follow his moves. I growled at myself to stop, but very slowly they started to move with his. "Audrey, why can't we stop?" She didn't answer me and I growled. I couldn't stop my lips no more. My body took over my mind and did its own thing. Why, body? It's not your body, mate. It's you going along with it. I jumped because his voice is now in my head. My eyes grow wide and I see him looking at me while kissing me. "Get out of my head. Stop touching me. Stop kissing me. Stop using the bond in your advantage." I yelled as hard I can in my mind, but he didn't seem to be affected by it and continued to stare at me. I glare at him and he winked. Probably because I need to mark him to mind Lincoln. "Then why are you running and tugging your hands in my hair?" I look at his hair and see that my hands are in his hair. I pull them off and push at his chest, making us pull apart. I'm panting, trying to get air while he takes a deep breath and then is fine after that. I push him away with my feet and hurry to get up. He falls on his butt and leans on his hands, staring up at me with a smirk. "Stop. Please, stop. Leave me alone. Leave my mind alone. Just please. I don't even want to be with you." I yell and I feel frustrated tears fall down. He gets up and walks till we are almost touching. "You will soon accept the bond in me. Just a matter of time till you accept me." He looks at me and then turns, leaving the room. Ugh, HH. I land on the bed face first and start to cry. I look through the mirror and see my mark is healed now. I started to claw at it, but it would only send pleasure waves through my body. I growled and stomped down towards the front door and towards the pack house. Heads bowed in every direction I would look, but I didn't nod or give a smile to anyone. I had a glare on my face while I walked in the house. "Jet," I yelled while they made a walkway for me to walk through. Her head pops up from the crowd and she makes her way towards me. Once she was in front of me, I grabbed her arm and pulled her away from the crowd and outside. Once there was no one close by, I turned to her. "Do you have a room or something we can talk in? Please." She nodded and she led me through some houses, then to a one-story house. It's small and has a cozy feeling to it. She leads me to a room and it was simple. A bed, dresser, and a window. I went straight to the bed and fell backwards. "I hate him, Janet. I hate him so much." I sobbed out and my shoulders shook. I can tell she feels uncomfortable because I can hear her shifting to feet. I looked up and see her playing with her hand, avoiding eye contact with me. I knew I should have went somewhere else. I said while I jumped up and walked past her shoulder. I walked out of the door as she didn't even say anything. I walked out of the house with tears falling down my eyes, and I cowled and stand everyone staring at me while I'm crying. I shifted to my wolf form and sprinted towards the woods. My wolf was whimpering while I jumped over some logs. Once I found a spot where there is no one close by, because wherever I would look it was all trees. I laid down and shifted to normal form. I cried and cried alone and looked up to the sky, cursing at the moon goddess for her choice for me. Why me? I screamed and I hugged my knees and rocked myself. I sat there for hours crying while it was getting dark. I turned to wolf form to get warm and laid there and fell asleep in the grass. Chapter 19. Jenna. My head snapped up when a twig snapped. I opened my eyes and I didn't notice Ty shifted back to my human form in my sleep. He stood watching me, creeping closer to me, watching my moves. He stood in just shorts, no shoes, no shirt, just shorts. Jenna. I looked back down and tried to go back to sleep. I didn't want to go back to his house. I didn't even want to be in his pack from now on. It's dark, probably early in the morning. Leave me alone, Alcander. I don't want to be there with you or your pack. Jenna, do you know that was me? I open my eyes and look up. IGS taking a seat and leaning back on the tree's trunk, having his glaze on me. His hazel eyes shine bright under the moon's light. I sit up and bring up my knees, trying to cover myself up as best as I can. Yes, but you were still watching. And I told you, Alcander, I told you I didn't want to be with you. Yet you let your wolf come in and have control and do something that I would never forget. He looks down and plays with fallen leaves that have fallen. If I could go back in time, and back to where you reject me, he looks up, meeting my glaze. We stare at each other, not one backing down from each other's glaze. He licks his lips and says, back to the time where you reject me, I would have done the same thing I done yesterday. I can't lose my only mate. Even if you hate me, even if you never accept me or our bond, I would never let you go away, or be taken away from me. I can't lose you, Jenna. Even if you want to leave me, I can't let you leave. I stare at him and watch him. I can't believe he said that. I don't know what to say. I don't even know what you want from me, Alcander. I can't be that perfect mate for you. I just can't. I looked down and stared at my thighs. Just carry my pups, and help with our pack. That's all you have to do. I look up and see him HES serious now. That's the reason you're emo. I clenched my jaw and I can feel my blood start to boil. I said between my teeth, that's the only reason I have you as a mate. You carry my pups for me and just look out for our pack. No, Alcander, that's not the reason for a mate. Yes, it is. Why do you think I put you on the chain? To teach you that men here are greater than females. What? Why do you think my father never talks about my mom? He rarely talks to our pack, talks to others, because my father chained her too, and now she fully submitted to him. He gets up and starts to walk to me. Why can't you do that? Are you serious? I growl. I get up and walk towards him. How can dare you say us women are lower than males? He stops and waits for me to meet him and in the middle. I gladly march to him. I don't even care, am fully without clothes to him. How can dare he say I'm lower than him? Jenna, I don't know why you are mad. It's just the way I think. I punch his cheek and growl at him. Don't ever can talk to me. I'm done with all your dumb remarks. I'm trying to get away from you. I'm done playing your can little game. I'm done, Alcander. I'm done with you. I'm leaving and there is no way you are stopping me. He growls at my remark and stands tall looking down at me. Jenna, don't, Alcander. I stomp past him and walk towards anywhere, I guess. Don't bother looking for me. It'll be long gone before you even find a trace of me. Don't, Jenna. You can't change the fact that we are mates. I tried to change that fact, but you were too pathetic to accept it. I growled out. My foot stomped on pebbles and some sharp twigs, but I didn't want to stop right there. He growls and I hear him walking towards me. Leave me alone, Alcander. Go find some other low-life girl to carry your pups, because that's not going to be me. I'm not going to be looked down at. Never in my life have I met someone like you. No wonder you had the title of the most feared alpha, I said while I hopped over a tree stump. He growls again and I hear him catching up. Don't stop telling me to stop, Jenna. Never in my life would I stop to get you. I turn around and he almost bumps into me. Don't be telling all this nice crap, when you're the one that chained me, marked me. Now you want me to raise your pups. No, Alcander. I won't be there for you. So don't count on me being the one to deliver your pups. That shuts him up, so I leave him there staring at my retreating body. Once I know a tree is covering my body, I shift to my wolf form and take off in a run and look up for the North Star. It'll let you play your little game of chase, mate. But once the night is done, hide fast. It'll be right behind. His voice creeps in my head and I shook my head, trying to get off his land as fast as I could. I'm not stupid, so I didn't head for my old pack. I went north instead because my pack was south. I started to run faster and I can start to smell the difference in the other land. I don't know if it's just open land or a neighbor pack, but I'm trying to avoid my scent going another land, just in case he can't find me and ask other pack if they smell my different scent. So trying to avoid different territory is like a guessing game. You don't know if it's open or not. I stopped to catch my breath and I already blocked Outry because she would just be yapping all the time. I don't know how long I've been running for, but I guess the sun is starting to rise and that's when his voice come. You may not see me, but I see you. Don't leave a scent behind, because I'm already ahead. Good luck, mate. You could just challenge Alpha to his favorite game. A good game of chase.